McKenna put it into a perspective that was so bright and so well articulated that it cemented the idea in my, well, wow, there really has been an incredible change in a really tiny amount of time.
Yeah.
As far as like the world goes, as far as Earth goes, like this fucking human thing just burst out of nowhere. Like a popcorn, man. Like this is crazy. In a short, tiny period of time, they've literally changed everything about the Earth. They've changed the surface of the Earth. They've created these gigantic stone things that rise almost a mile in the air.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
They're changing the Earth.
Well,
literally in a couple of 100,000 years. They figured it all out. They went from being animals to wearing skins to all of a sudden they were making clothes, and all of a sudden they were making houses, and all of a sudden they made the wheel, all of a sudden they made a computer, and it's just gonna keep, but it's happening so ridiculously fast.
Yep.
And McKenna was the first guy.
He was the first guy to really articulate that and do it in a way that made sense. And what's even more fascinating is, according to McKenna, that information came from DMT and the mushroom high. That's a lot of that, he said, was coming from his experiences in those mind states. And like one of his talents was going into those mind states and being able to bring back the information in a way that makes sense to other people. He was like a translator for the psychedelic state. And it's funny that in that place, he was getting information not just related to the acceleration in human evolution, but to this idea of the strange attractor at the end of history, the organization principle that's drawing us through time towards it. You know about that, right? The strange attractor?
Boy, I've tried to figure out how to swallow that one. I've tried to like go back and see his thinking, and he might have just what-ifed himself into that.
You think so?
He might have.
I
don't know.
Here's it's not weird, but there's another person that shares a similar idea as McKenna did. He's a Jesuit priest named Teilhard de Chardon. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name, but he says that what's happening is we're not going from the past into the future. What's happening is we're being drawn towards this principle that is simultaneously complexifying things and perfectly organizing and harmonizing them. And the closer we get to it, the more complex and harmonious things tend to get. And so he talked about that, calling that the omega point, which is the point where things reach ultimate complexity with simultaneous harmony at the same time. And that results in the next phase of human evolution, which to us it seems like a wow, but and it is a wow, but when you look at what's been happening, you have the exact same thing keeps happening. You have the single-celled organism develops a relationship with another single-celled organism. They become multicellular organisms over the course of millions of years, and just that in its own right. If you were a single-celled organism and somehow you had the capacity to understand anything, but you're probably an idiot because you were just a cell, and someone came to you and said, listen, guess what? You're going to turn into a being made up of millions of you, all perfectly operating in a harmonious way and being self-determined and able to actually bring thoughts into the universe through creation. That single-celled, that fucking thing would think, what the fuck? That's the opposite of what I am right now. That's in the same way, these people are just saying, that hasn't stopped.
Right.
We're heading towards another level of that organization, and that's the singularity that I think McKenna was yapping.